Love is in the air tonight. We're going to talk about relationships today. We're going to talk about your women and the different types of relationships, which most of you already understand, but the qualifications for those women to be in those certain types of relationships. I get a lot of questions about this, and it's something I've never really, I don't think, have covered in super great detail. I have touched on these topics, but we'll talk about this in detail today. I am Caleb Jones. This is Alpha Male 2.0, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We do 5 videos a week here, how to make both your business life and your woman life more free, because you need both. We are also doing an online drawing course giveaway right now. This is my online course on how you can develop your own location-independent company. I normally sell that for about $1,400, and you might be able to get it for free. All you need to do is subscribe here at YouTube, like this video, leave a comment, and every 2 weeks I will announce the winner at the community feed here at this YouTube channel. So the concepts we're going to go through today are things I touch on in my main relationships book, the Ultimate Open Relationships Manual. This is at, I have a lot of websites, I always forget, haveopenrelationships.com. This is the second most important book I have ever written. My most important book is The Unchained Man. This is the second one. How to develop long-term, non-monogamous relationships that are low drama with women. Because why do you want to be monogamous? Don't you want to have sex with whomever you want? Doesn't that make more sense? Even if you're married, even if you have a serious relationship, and so on. So there are 3 different types of relationships you have with women in Alpha 2.0. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but I will overview them very quickly because some of you are new. I understand, that's fine. 3 types of relationships that go from very casual down to very, very serious. And in this video, I'm going to discuss the requirements for women to be in these relationship types. Make sense? So very quickly to cover these, because most of you already know what these are, but some of you don't. So real fast. FB, that means friend with benefits, or fuck buddy, depending on how vulgar you are. And that is a woman who you are having sex with, but you are not dating. She is your friend. F stands for friend. You're not going out on dates. You're not spending the night. You're just hooking up, and she's your buddy. That's it. FB. You can have multiple FBs. Matter of fact, every Alpha Male 2.0 should have at least one FB, if not multiple. I have several. That's good. These other ones are optional for the Alpha 2.0, but Alpha 2.0, you need FBs, no matter what configuration you have. Unless you have multiple MLTRs for some reason, some guys do. So that's the next one, is MLTR. That is a woman you are dating. So you're having sex and you're actually dating her. You actually like her romantically. You have romantic intentions. You go out on dates. You spend the night. You spend extra time with her. You really do like her. She really likes you. But it's purely non-monogamous and non-exclusive. You can have multiple MLTRs, and throughout the last 13 years, there have been many times I've had 2, 3, sometimes on rare events, 4 MLTRs all going at once. You don't want more than 2, generally speaking. You can have 3, that's a lot of work, but you can have them. But the point is, you can have multiple MLTRs, you can have multiple FBs. You can have 1 MLTR and 3 FBs, 2 MLTRs, 2 FBs, whatever you want to do. Cool? Cool. OLTR is the equivalent of your girlfriend. So that is just like an MLTR, except it's exclusive. You are not allowed to date other women if you have an OLTR, and she is not allowed to date other men. But you can hook up with other women as long as they are just FBs or one-night stands, things like that. It's a much more serious, committed type of relationship. This is essentially your girlfriend. It's the Alpha 2.0 equivalent of a girlfriend, okay? The last level really is same as the OLTR. It's an OLTR wife. That is an OLTR you live with full time. Regardless of whether or not you're legally married, that is not relevant to me, because if you live with a woman full time, you are living the lifestyle of a married man. It doesn't matter what legal documents you've signed. It doesn't matter whether or not you're having sex with other women. So in my case, now today, I have an OLTR wife, Pink Firefly, and I have several FBs. That's what I've got. But you can choose any configuration you want of these things. Cool? Cool. Okay, that's the overview. Now let's talk about the requirements for these things. So what are the requirements for FB? It's a trick question. There is none. You can have any woman you want as an FB. There's no real requirements. Now, other than the basic requirements of someone you'd have sex with. So I will give you my 2 requirements. I only have 2, and they're very open-ended for FBs. I've said this many, many times at my blogs. A woman can be an FB provided she is physically attractive. So again, I operate under a model of ugly, average, cute, or hot. In my world, she needs to be at least cute, preferably hot. So she needs to be at least cute or hot. That's number one. Number two, she can't be a bitch to me. To me. Notice I said to me. She can be a bitch. I have had FBs and even some MLTRs who were total bitches from hell, but not to me. They were bitches to everyone else in their lives, but not to me. I don't do drama, so she can't be a bitch to me. She's out. But if she's nice to me, or at least neutral with me, and we're having sex and enjoying each other, and she's physically attractive, she's in. She's in as an FB in my world. There are no other requirements for FB. I don't care how smart she is. I don't care what her background is. I don't care if she does drugs. I don't care what religion she is. I don't care if she's a feminist. I don't give a shit about all these other things that guys use as little check marks, like chicks, trying to screen for women. You don't screen for FBs. That's stupid. If she's hot and she's not being a bitch to you, have sex with her. Hello? I don't know why this is so complicated for dudes. But anyway, that's my point. There's no real requirements for FBs. And you could say, well, I have another requirement. My extra requirement is blank. You can choose to add more requirements onto FB if you really want to, but you don't want to because that limits your options. Why would you do that with FBs? You can get more picky as you go down into the model. That's fine. Certainly as you get down to OLTR, you should be much more picky. But with FBs, dude, if she's hot, I get guys all the time who will meet up with or go on a first date with a really attractive woman, sometimes a younger woman, and they'll say things like, well, she's really hot and she's really good looking and she's very friendly, but she's just not as smart as my ex-wife, so I can't fuck her. What? You're insane. Fuck her. Have sex with her if she's attractive and she's not a bitch to you. That's fine. Just keep her at the FB level. Don't upgrade her later to MLTR unless you choose. Make sense? Very simple. Okay. MLTR. What are the requirements for MLTR? A lot of guys misunderstand this. A lot of guys think that the requirements for MLTR are almost like an OLTR. It's almost like the same requirements I have for an MLTR need to be the same as if I have a real actual girlfriend, and that's not the case. MLTRs are not your girlfriends. That's not your girlfriend. It's just a woman you are dating. That's it. So you don't have to have this perfect MLTR. My only requirement, really, my only extra requirement for an MLTR on top of an FB is she can't live a completely and totally reckless life. So for example, let's say she's an MLTR, or I want her to be an MLTR, and let's say she does hard drugs. She is a hardcore heroin addict. Then in that case, I probably would pass. Now, to be clear, in the past, years ago, I had lower end MLTRs who were reasonable drug users. Now, when I say drug users, I don't mean they smoke weed. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about hard drugs. I have violated that a little bit because I wasn't really serious about it, but as I got older, I raised the bar a little tiny bit. So the requirements for MLTR are the same as FB. She has to be physically attractive. She cannot be a bitch to me, but she can be a bitch to other people. That's fine. And the only one I add for MLTR for me is she can't live a completely chaotic life. What would be another example of that? She has a boyfriend who beats the shit out of her. Probably not good to have an MLTR like that. By the way, FBs can have boyfriends. Notice I didn't say one of the requirements for FB is she has to be single. I don't care if she's single. I would stay away from married women. Okay, I would throw that in there. I think it's a little too dangerous, but you know, in terms of boyfriends, and as I've said before, women under the age of about 24, where they say I have a boyfriend, it means nothing. Even if they have a boyfriend, they fuck other guys. Women under 24 cannot be monogamous even if they try. Just the way it works. But anyway, different topic for another time. My point is, there are not a lot of requirements for MLTR beyond an FB other than some really basic ones. And again, you don't want to make a list of requirements for MLTR. She has to be a college educated, and she has to have a high IQ, and she has to have long hair, and she has to have 2 parents who are not divorced. This is not your girlfriend. I'm sorry, it's not. This is not your girlfriend. This is an MLTR. This is a woman you're dating. Even if your objective is to find a serious girlfriend or find a future wife, that's fine. But the model to do that is you date a lot of women. I talk about this in The Unchained Man, by the way, alphamalebook.com. You date a lot of women all at the same time, and the best ones rise to the top organically. That is how I found my wife, Pink Firefly. Do you think when I wanted to settle down, I pulled out this big giant checklist of all this shit a woman needed to have? No, I just dated a lot of women all at the same time. Matter of fact, when I first started seeing Pink Firefly as an FB, she was one of, 6 different women. Back in like 2014, one of 6. And guess what happened? Over time, she rose to the top and she became my wife. That's how this works. I didn't go out looking for this perfect wife. That's fucking stupid and it doesn't work. Have you seen the divorce rates lately? Yes. Okay. So when we're talking about MLTRs, keep the requirements low. Higher than FB, certainly. That's fine. You could even put an age requirement on MLTRs. Some guys do that. Some guys say, hey, I'll have FBs of any age, but if she's an MLTR, she has to be at least 26 years old, something like that. I've seen guys do that. That's perfectly fine, not a big deal. That's okay. Really up to you, but don't add a lot of requirements onto this. Cool? Cool. OLTR. Now we're getting picky. Now we're getting into the requirements. OLTR is your girlfriend. OLTR is a big deal because when you commit to an OLTR, you are no longer allowed to have MLTRs ever again unless you break up. You can have FBs, you can't have MLTRs. You're not allowed. That's kind of a big deal. So a woman who wants to be your OLTR needs to earn it. You don't just give it to her because she demands it, which is what most men do. The women stamp their little feet and they go, okay. No. So here's how OLTR works. An OLTR must start as an MLTR first. She must be an MLTR for at least 6 months. 12 months is better, but at least 6 months with near zero problems. What do I mean by near zero problems? Near zero drama, near zero jealousy. In other words, you've had the talk. The talk is the talk you have when you finally tell a woman that you'll never be monogamous and so on and so forth. You've had that talk. She's survived that talk. You're continuing to see her for months after that, and she's more or less okay. She doesn't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. Everyone can have unusual bad days. But you know what I mean. No major problems at all for at least a 6-month period. 12 months is better. Now, let me give you my example. Pink Firefly, before she became my OLTR, was dating me for 1.5 years as an FB and then as an MLTR. 1.5 years before we even thought of bringing up that discussion. 1.5 years. The woman before Pink Firefly, who was a serious relationship with me, a woman named HBM, that's obviously not her real name. She was an OLTR-ish relationship. She was in my life, in my dating life, we were having sex for 3 years, 3.5, something like that, before she became an OLTR. So the longer she sits at MLTR, the better, because you don't know what you're dealing with when you first meet someone and first start dating someone. The dumbest thing men do is they start having sex with some new woman and they say, you're my girlfriend now. That is fucking stupid. No wonder guys have drama and chaos and problems in their dating lives. Stupid. You can't do that. At least 6 months, 1 year is better, beyond 1 year is even better. And then when you do that, when you want to make the decision to upgrade the relationship from MLTR to OLTR, you have the OLTR talk, which is different than the talk. I talk about that in the book, but that is where you go through basically all the negatives of you. Look, if we're going to be serious together, if we're going to move in together down the road, here are all the problems with me, here's all the things about me you will hate, and you just list them all off. One of them being, number one, I will always have sex with other women for the rest of my life, and I will never stop and I will never change. Into my 70s, I will still be having sex with other women. Yes, I told that to Pink Firefly. Yes. Give them all the negatives right up front. What most people do in serious relationships is they don't talk about any negatives. They get serious. God forbid they move in some cases even have kids together. Then all the negatives come up. And now it's way too late. You don't want to do that. Get all the negatives out front first. So that way, if she says, I'm never doing that, then you kick her to the curb and you look elsewhere for a new OLTR, get some new FBs, MLTRs. Cool? Cool. You can also add other requirements onto your OLTR. This is where you're allowed to get picky. You can put on requirements for her physical appearance, her intelligence. That's fine. Just don't go crazy. Don't be one of these traditional right-wing guys who have a list of 37 things they need to find in a future perfect wife. And don't go nuts. But you are more than welcome to add a bunch of extra requirements above and beyond an MLTR for your OLTR. That's fine. Just don't add too many. Make sense? Makes sense. What are the requirements for OLTR wife? Well, essentially, an OLTR wife is a woman who gets to the OLTR level and is able to maintain the OLTR level without living with you for a long period of time, again, with minimal or zero problems. So it took Pink Firefly 2 years to go from OLTR to OLTR wife when she finally moved in. 2 years. I believe that's right. 1.5 years? No, I think it was 2 years. It was 2 years. So I wanted to make sure before I moved in with her that we had a nice long track record of being emotionally exclusive and serious. We didn't have a lot of problems, drama, jealousy, all the stuff that most people encounter when they have relationships, even monogamous relationships. I wanted to watch her very carefully and see how she behaved when we had disagreements and things like that. And only at that time when I was comfortable, and it took me about 2 years to get comfortable, then she moved in, and as soon as she moves in, she becomes your OLTR wife. Later, we had a wedding, but she moved in, let's see, the last week of December 2017. So, in a way, early 2018. That's when she moved in. Cool? Cool. And again, what's the theme here on this serious stuff? You don't just make her your OLTR and then move her in. That's stupid. So you don't say, okay, she's been an MLTR for 6 months. She's been great. Now she's my OLTR. Boom. Now she can move in next month. No. Wait a long time. As long as you can wait. Again, at least 6 months. A year is better. 2 years and more is even better. As I've said many times at my blogs, you guys who are desperate for fucking girlfriends or wives, there is no rush. You have plenty of time. Men do not have a biological clock like chicks do. We can have babies whenever the fuck we want. We age much better than women. So there's no rush to rush into a serious OLTR or live-in OLTR relationship. There's no rush to do this. Take your time. The longer you wait to get serious with a woman, the higher the odds that relationship will last in the modern era. In the 1950s, it was very different. As always, I'm not talking about the goddamn 1950s. I'm talking about today in the collapsing Western world. That's what you want to do. You have to be very careful. Take the slow, step by step. No rushing. And again, most of you guys watching this video shouldn't even have an OLTR. Shouldn't even be thinking about it. As I've said many times, no one likes when I say this, but I'm right. You should not have a girlfriend until you're at least 30. You should not move in with a woman in a romantic context until you're at least 35. I've said it a billion times. I'll probably say it a billion more. So if you're under the age of 30, FBs and MLTRs. Go crazy with those. Matter of fact, you should. And you can have, I didn't talk about this in this video, you can have a high-end MLTR. That's your favorite MLTR. Still not your girlfriend. You're still wide open, non-exclusive. You can date all the other women you want, but she's your favorite. You can do that too. Cool? Cool. So that's it. Those are the requirements. If you need more help with this, with your relationship life, managing your non-monogamous relationships, you can go to joinsmic.com. That is my audio training and mentorship program. In the meantime, you can click here for 11 cool countries to move to if you want to escape the Western world, or you can click here to learn the dangers of being a normal alpha male. See you soon. Bye.